Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. Steve and I are back as we continue our look into the Hammer horror franchise with The Phantom of the Opera, directed by Terence Fisher. An acid scar composer has his dwarf helper bring an opera singer to his London sewer hideout. The movie was made in a budget of £180,000 and brought in £580,164,000 at the box office, a very specific amount. Welcome.
And 27 pence.
Oh, and yeah, I left that bit out. Silly me. Goddamn, just never accurate. Another thing I realized, because of obviously I've changed things around, I have to stop shouting into this microphone. I keep thinking I'm public speaking. And when I'm recording stuff, I'm like, bah!
Yeah.
I need to just settle down a bit and remember I've got technology to help me. I'm not
It's
shouting at the entire world.
It's got a feature in the settings, isn't it? It's got a feature in the settings that equalizes your mic, stops you going loud.
Yeah, but the last, obviously we've switched over. I'll need to figure it all out again, but the last one was messing me up. Like, it was making me really, really low.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Oh, technology's fun, eh?
Yeah. Well, it's made me really low as well.
I have toys. I haven't figured out if I can put my own in there or not, but it's neat fun. So, what do you think of this one? I enjoyed it for the most part, but I'm kind of scratching my head at some of the plot choices.
Yeah, it's I enjoyed it. I thought it's at last they're coming back to proper horror, you know, but I think he was the Phantom was quite violent, really, wasn't he? And I found it hard to decipher between the stage opera, you know, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera, and a film version, and because I think the stage show actually gave you emotions. You either felt sorry for Christine in her rail, in it, or you felt sorry for the Phantom. I was one of those that felt sorry for the Phantom in the stage show, but this one, I was beginning to wonder just who the Phantom was. Was it because the Phantom didn't actually kill anyone? It was the little dwarf guy, wasn't it?
Yeah,
stabbing him in the eye, and
it was. Oh, that's what I said. I was scratching my head at the plot, and dwarf isn't really the right description. Which he's more like an Igor type character.
Yeah.
God, what was it? Yeah, I haven't. We were just talking before we went live. I haven't seen the actual operas since it was maybe my 20s. Like, it's a while. And I used to have this wee magazine. I remember this is where I first came across it when I was in school doing a paper round. But I moved up and then was in the wee shed beside the newsagents. So you handed out, you know, you dished out the papers to the delivers and you did the dockets and stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the things we used to do was do the returns. So that was magazines went back, and there's this wee part work come out every 2 weeks, and it was all different musicals. And I remember because it was a magazine with a cassette tape. Sorry, show me age. But I remember Phantom of the Opera, and that's one I actually, because you got a discount obviously because they were getting returned anyway. So I picked that one up and remember loving it. But yeah, there was something.
Yeah, I mean,
overall, it's a good story. It's it's a good film. It's a good story. But I'm scratching my head a bit, going, "That's not Phantom of the Opera."
Yeah, quite a lot of mistakes. That were visually visible. Yeah. No, I said to you earlier that it's more like the book. It's more like the book than some of the other film versions. that have come out.
God, I remember one years ago. It was set in Paris,
Yeah.
and I haven't read the book, but I remember the tale being that different. It was probably an adaptation, a direct adaptation of the book.
Mm.
It's one of them ones that was just I watched randomly, and it's a bit like when you watch a direct adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, where it's actually her in the house with Baron and Percy, and they're when you see one of those adaptations, it's completely different from the traditional monster. That's what I remember being different because it probably was closer to the book. Like I said, I haven't read it, so I can't reference. But this again is different. They've obviously taken their own spin on it and a few liberties.
Yeah, yeah. I felt, I don't think that they gave the Phantom enough screen time in this one. Considering he was the main protagonist.
It was more about Darcy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He was the mustache twirling villain in this.
That guy is a very, very well known actor. They had a catch getting. I know back in 1962, wasn't it?
Yeah, 1962. This
wasn't as prominent as he was, but when you consider later on in life, he played Alfred the Butler in Tim Burton's Batman films. So yeah, and he's been in loads of stuff. So this film probably didn't do him any bad justice at all. It sort of cemented him really.
Well, he plays his role at the end of the day. He is the villain. He's completely like despicable, but he does play it with a certain flair. So fair play.
What are you on about?
Oh, that's what I say. But he plays it with he does have a certain flair. He may as well have the cape and twirl the mustache in this, but he commits to the role.
Yeah, all he wants to do is get his leg over Christine. Isn't it?
That's like his whole reason for setting up the operas to get himself new bedmates. It's like, mate, if you just hired yourself a few working girls, you'd save yourself a fortune and hassle.
And then it's like, no, you're not getting your leg over. Well, you're fired then.
Yep.
That would be deemed as sexual.
Well, he's like the version of Harvey Weinstein, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
He's like, you know what I mean? We've seen how that's played out. No, he's absolutely despicable. Like,
I'll tell you what was good though, which is a known thing for musicians being a musician is, and the conductor got fired, and the rest of the orchestra walked out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a musicians union, that's what you would do. You'd support
the maestro, whoever the maestro was.
See, and so that was very well thought out. I don't know whether they did it back in 1962, but I imagine it's a thing that's gone on for ages. You pick on one man in an orchestra, you pick on the lot.
Yeah, it's a very I was only ever grade 2, so I tried joining a part-time concert band, and I was terrible, and that's when I gave up because it was just awful.
Yeah.
Actually, the thing that got me is I recorded myself playing. I was learning the flute, and I recorded myself playing, and then I went, "Oh my god, I'm awful. That's it, done." Just threw a fit.
My dad was very musical. He worked the fiddle.
Oh, for God's sake!
Boom, boom, boom. No. I thought they started it off with the opening night, didn't they? And Phantom had gone and ripped everything in sight, and all the posters. He smashed the skin on the timpani and ripped out part of the score on the conductor, and
it was very childish. no, they're setting up for the first night of the production, and yeah, all this stuff's happening, and stealing the conductor's notes and all. And yet, it just seemed like something a kid would do.
Yeah, but he wasn't of sane mind anyway, was he? Because don't you remember when he had Christina? He was talking to himself, um, reenacting the scene where he sold the music to Darcy for £50, didn't he? And he was reenacting it in his mind, and somebody went through it all again, and then went over to the organ. So, so yeah, he wasn't the same mind anyway. So I mean, I suppose if he was coming into the theatre and he saw the poster, and because of what had happened to him, he would have wanted to scrap it up. I mean, I could see his sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could be deemed as childish, but I think edging into
Yeah, getting
more
darker.
serious things, I think it was a good opener. Sort of. I would have probably wrote the same sort of scenario, but no.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's what we say. We're getting this all prepared, starting to do the performance, and yeah, it's just more than one thing happening to be a coincidence or a mishap.
yeah,
And then we meet
the
Maria or
stage.
Marion, the singer, an absolute diva.
Yeah, she's but in the stage show, the woman who played her when I first went to see it was exactly the same. She played it so well that she was like everyone's snobby, um, opera singer that thought she ruled the roost, and she played the part so well. And but, yeah, and then she heard the voices, didn't she? And then turned the light out, didn't he? And saw him.
It was a strange scene that I was trying to figure it out. So obviously he's talking through the walls and there's secret passages and stuff, but for him just to turn up like that, just to go boo, you know.
Yeah, it's one way to scare her, though, isn't it? Because she refused after the death of the stagehand to sing, didn't she? She disappeared, and never to sing in the UK again.
Yeah, but that would have done it on its own
Yeah,
without him appearing. It's almost like they couldn't wait. They didn't have the build up. They wanted to almost have him appearing.
yeah,
Like people couldn't twig on. Oh, we must have the Phantom appear. We can't let it build up for too long. It's like, well, no, the title of the movie gives it away.
yeah. On the stagehand that was supposedly had a noose, didn't he? You could see the wires
Mm-hmm.
that were actually holding him up. That was one of the first things I noticed.
Well, they didn't have CGI back then to airbrush it all out.
No.
You kind of just had to go with it and hope the camera hit it.
Mm. But they've done quite well considering all these piano players they had that weren't actually pressing the keys down, and yet the music was coming out.
One of those old West, pianos that play by themselves.
Yeah. And when they sat Christine and he was auditioning the big busty woman, and the guy was there just with his hands just going across the keys like this, and they weren't actually going down, and yet it was a brilliant piece of music he was playing.
Thing is, it was the singing during this got me a bit. I take it they didn't have professional singers.
Mm.
I don't know whether it was the production quality or what, but I just found the singing, for a so-called opera.
Yeah, I mean, opera was really the in thing back in in the 1800s, wasn't it? You had all the top composers writing all these operas, and I mean, they never had all the pop music that we get today. It's solely like opera and musical wise, it's your Bachs and your Mozarts and stuff like that, so yeah, a lot of people were singing like that, weren't they? But they weren't that good, were they?
No, that's what I was trying to
Christine.
say. They were,
again, if you go back to the stage show, the girls who played Christine and the other woman, they were fantastic opera singers in their own right.
So that's my question. Were these just actors that they were like, right, we need just to sing?
Yeah, quite possibly, I would say.
They didn't have anybody dubbed over the top. Like, they played the music dubbed, but I'm surprised they didn't have like a choir or something singing the bits, because it was I don't know whether it was deliberate, but I had an amateurish feel about it, the whole production.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was deliberate or just the technology of the time or just circumstances, but it really felt like it was an amateur stage play and not an actual like serious production. And it just makes me wonder, could they not have got a troupe, a choir or whatever? What is it? I know it's an actors troupe, but what is it called? Like a group of stage performers for an opera? Like, surely they could have found some, because these people weren't, like, when they were having various scenes throughout it. Now, if they didn't have the actual scenes, you could have forgiven it.
Yeah.
But when they're actually doing performed stage scenes, it was bad.
They probably never, back in 1800s, they never had to.
No, but this is 19. No, I'm just talking about the film.
Like they do now.
Like, it's 19. The film was, I know it's set in the 1800s, but it's 1962. Are you telling me couldn't have, rather than hiring the actors they did, like, they hired people to do this? Why couldn't they have hired a stage production for the number of scenes that they needed?
Yeah.
That's the bit I'm a bit confused, because these people that they hired aren't good, like, not even remotely.
No. That's But then, would people have really thought about that back in 1962?
Why wouldn't you? That's the thing. It's okay. Who's on? Right. This is Hammer Studios. It's in London. Okay, let's see who's playing in the West End, folks. Here's some money. We just come and do this, and this, and then they film it together. The scenes that they needed. Job done. Like, it's not. There's bound to be production. I don't know what the term is for a group of musical performers. It's not a band, because the band's in the front. Or it's not the orchestra. An ensemble.
Yeah. An ensemble.
Yeah. Okay. So surely there was between productions an ensemble out there.
Yeah. Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah. I just don't get why they hired random actors who obviously aren't stage performers, and singers.
Ensemble musicians or opera singers have acted. I don't know.
It would be cheaper as well, wouldn't it? Like, if you'd actually just, orchestra band, we need you, here, can I hire you for this, and we'll use our own maestro to play these parts. I don't know. Like I said, it gave it an almost comedic quality, which I don't know if that's what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
I'm no particular theater snob, but you can spot a bad performance in people that aren't in their wheelhouse, if that makes sense.
Your the picture I've got of you is frozen.
Has it? Well, I'm still.
I'm moving.
I'm moving.
Yours?
Yeah, we're both moving here. Yeah.
You're not moving on.
I'm seeing no difference.
Yeah. You're there. Like,
Oh, yeah, that's my reaction to the the bad singing. No, like I said, it was just that when they actually went into the performances themselves, it took me out of it a bit because I'm like going, these people are bad. Like objectively so. But we have obviously I have the poor stagehand, which is another question I have about this. I know it'll probably make the film like an hour shorter, but why isn't the Phantom just going after Darcy himself? These people have nothing to do with this. What the betrayal or the shenanigans. They're just doing a job. They have no clue as to what's going on.
So I said to you, why did he kill the rat catcher? He was just catching rats.
Yeah, that's the strangest death in this. I was like, what did that guy do?
Mind you, I did like the rat catcher when he says, "Oh, I've got a couple of rats,"
Yeah.
and when they actually escape, there's bloody hundreds of the buggers, all in his little sack, and they were all. And he puts his hand in the sack. Well, if you'd done that to
yeah, you'd have no fingers left.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, rats are. I love rats. Actually, they're.
I used
they're
to
actually. They're actually quite tame and intelligent.
Yeah, he used to sit on my neck, tail wrapped around my neck, and he just used to lick my ear like that. Lovely thing. I was only supposed to have him a couple of days because the animal centre I used to volunteer and told me that the vet said he's only got a couple of days to live. Can I take him home and look after him for a few days? So I took him home and he lasted 6 months. He had the life of Riley.
Yeah, they only live a couple of years. That's the only shame about them.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah, it's 2-3 years at the most.
But yeah, that was funny. I thought, oh, the rat catcher, he's just put his hand in that bag of rats.
And still has his hand. Yeah, that's especially if they're wild rats.
Oh, nasty bastard.
I have to say though, the sewers in this are luxurious.
Clean, aren't they?
Cleaner than bloody London.
Yeah, let's face it. If the with the water coming in from the River Thames, when Hunter went in from the River Thames entrance, wasn't it? And everything looks spotlessly clean. Yet
it's like, no, you don't jump in the Thames.
River Thames water coming in. Oh no, God, it's bad enough me jumping into Swansea Marina years ago to save that woman. I was covered in crap, and so I can understand what the River Thames is.
Yeah, I only ever stood, because if you ever go along the side of it, there's steps down on the wharf. You can actually go if you wanted to go into the water, but you take a couple of steps down, you just get the whiff of it. You're like, no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And there wasn't one turd floating past or one condom or anything. It was like, yeah, not one bit of rubbish.
No. God.
That must have been the most expensive part of the set, though. Because even the Thames wasn't the Thames. That was all set.
Yeah. But I couldn't find any information. I was sure that the organ that the Phantom was playing when he kidnapped Christine. I didn't think it made the sounds that it was playing. I thought that the sound sounded more modern than
yeah, without a doubt, it was played over.
It was just been an 1800s organ, and I thought, oh, it's got some modern things on there, hasn't it? But I couldn't find the information on the organ he was using. So
there's no way also he'd be playing. How the hell did he get an organ down there in the first place?
Especially a pipe organ.
Yeah, that's
the pipes weigh a ton in the nose,
And plus, the opera house itself would be shaking.
Yeah,
He
Yeah.
wouldn't just be sitting playing that by himself, you know.
But not. I mean, Hunter heard it just, didn't he? Coming out the onto the Thames in the tunnel entrance. Just heard it.
I think that's a spoof.
I thought, yeah, if that organ was playing, you'd soon know about it. God,
Gotta
years
be.
ago, one of the gigs I was playing at, they hired a bagpipe player.
Mm.
The guy whose birthday it was Scottish, and this bagpipe. And I didn't realise I stood behind the bagpipe player, and no kidding, the sound just went whomp like this, and that was just a bagpipe. So God knows what it's like to stand that close to a pipe organ.
Yeah. Well, I was in BPND, so
yeah.
It's the problem with bagpipes is 90% of the time they're attached to an idiot. Pipers are a nightmare. And then they hear the buglers. Like, you're crap, you're a bugler. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, freaking shut up.
My mate years ago, he says, yeah, they asked me to play bagpipes. He says, and they give me these bagpipes. He says, I didn't know whether to play it or shag it.
Christine. She's an interesting character in this.
Yeah, I felt she took a back place, really.
The two main characters in the Phantom of the Opera aren't really the two main characters in this film. It's all about Harold and D'Arcy.
Yeah, that's right. It's about him being ripped off, wasn't it? What's it called? The professor.
Yeah, but that's he's the
Darcy. It's all about Darcy.
It's all about Harold and D'Arcy, and even Darcy's assistant.
Yeah,
were more prominent in this film than the Phantom and Christine. But she's the most chilled out person.
Yeah,
like you would take her into battle with you because she is unfazable.
Yeah, when you come with me, Christine, might as well say, "Hey, go out for dinner with me," because she would have.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Even when he started speaking to her through the walls, she's kind of like, "Oh, why is that then?" I just kind of went along with it.
You and I would have pooed our pants and run a mile, wouldn't we? The walls.
Yeah, she just takes everything in her stride and like completely non-phased, except when the plot required it. Like she fainted once just because the plot wanted her to, because they needed her to get carried away.
What made me laugh was she was afraid of the rats, but not of the strange bloke called the Phantom who wanted to take her away.
Whose mask was actually more frightening than his face.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But did you notice that when he first took his mask off, when he started taking it off, he didn't have any bad face. And then suddenly they must have gone back to the shop. He had his bad face on. So.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't do that. Obviously, that'd be hard to wear with a flipping thing.
Yeah.
Back in. But he looked more like a zombie than somebody who had acid burns.
Yeah. The question I've got for you, right? They give this story about how it happened to him. If he was the only one in the, in the printers at the time, how did they know what happened to him?
Just the magic of plot devices. There's massive.
The printer
massive plot holes in this whole movie.
Brilliant, the printer, wasn't he? Yeah, let's damage my own table, which probably cost a couple of £1,000, demonstrating how nitric acid burns through a table. Yeah. Oh yeah, he thought it was water, but it's this. Shh. Burn. Nitric acid. And he was so cool about it. No gloves, no nothing.
Yeah.
Well,
the fact that the stuff that he had in the bucket, apparently, what he had, like, it wasn't like he got a bottle and threw it. It was in a bucket. You're like, I don't think that's. I know their health and safety was the thing, but even that is taking the mick.
Yeah.
Even that's got a wee bit far for the 1800s.
Well, yeah, but they went in and said, "Oh, did you know Professor So and So?" Yes, he broke into here and he burnt down the place. You know,
Just casually, yeah.
if he was the, how did they know? Because he ran away
Mm-hmm.
and chucked himself in the Thames. But who saw him?
That one
How did they,
police constable who just caught a brief glimpse.
yeah, but how did they know it was this Professor Petrie or whatever it was
I
called?
think because he called in the day before, but
How did they know
did he?
that that he burnt himself using this nitric acid? Just how did they know? Because he chucked it on the fire, obviously, but no one saw him because he broke into the place and there was no one around.
Yeah,
It's night time, and but no one saw it. But everyone seemed to know what he did.
yeah. There's a lot of liberties. Well, like I said, the thing with me was not just the actual performances that they did, but the plot holes in this are ridiculous. And Christine's just cavalier mannered the whole thing. Like even Harold is more freaked out.
Yeah,
And Christy just like, yeah, okay. And so for those that aren't familiar with Phantom of the Opera, basically there's a production of Joan of Arc happening with this theatre company. And throughout the production, they're dogged with mishaps. And it becomes apparent they're not accidents. You know, there's a sinister force and actual cast members and staff get killed. You know, that's the premise. This is following basically the same premise of it. Christine gets mentored by the Phantom, but she goes voluntarily. You know, he approaches her because she's just not strong enough to make the lead role. You know, that's the actual story. This, I don't know what they're doing with it. It's very, very strange. But obviously, after Marion gets freaked out from the death of the stagehand and the production being postponed, the Christine ends up stepping up from the chorus to the main part. Once again, D'Arcy and Harold, like this is more their story than anybody else's. He's the producer. You hire the producer to do all the groundwork.
yeah,
D'Arcy just needs to turn up and take the bow like he did.
yeah. He's just the writer of the opera. It's,
Yeah.
what grounds has he got over the producer and the stage manager to say who's in it and who's best to play it and who's best? He just, like I said,
Yeah, but why hire a producer if you're the whole point of hiring a producer so you don't have to do that sort of stuff?
yeah, that's right.
Um
He sacked them all.
yeah, that yeah, Darcy's just completely neurotic and like he's an odd character for I don't know, a lord. You know, you'd think he'd have his own circle and this would be more of a hobby.
Yeah,
Very a very, very strangely written character.
yeah. And I suppose the casting of this thing, though, they were very clever because they got some really sort of vintage actors. And Darcy himself was in Dracula and the original 1958 Christopher Lee one. And then, of course, further down the line, he went on to play in the 3 Batman films that Tim Burton made.
Or no, two of them, Tim Burton. The third one was Joel Schumacher.
Joe Schumacher, that's right.
And then
Yeah.
he obviously gave up on that because of
Gave up, yeah. Who knew have gave up after the third one?
I still can't forgive Joel Schumacher for Batman and Robin.
Oh.
Some crimes. It's like I still can't forgive Sylvester Stallone for Judge Dredd. That was a crime.
Oh, it's terrible.
Some things just can't be forgiven.
Often he.
No.
The Joe Schumacher Batman and Robin received rave reviews for being the film with the most misfiring stunts in. Honestly,
That was painful. When you thought Val Kilmer was bad, God, it's like hold my beer. George
Yeah.
Clooney's like, hold my beer. I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah. But yeah, Alfred, he played Alfred in that. So, and of course, then you had a lot of the usual actors who've been in quite a lot of Hammer films. Michael Ripper was there again, only in a very, very brief part.
I thought I recognised the cabbie.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Ah, there you go. Right.
Yeah. And then you had Edward de Souza, who's been in before. Yeah, so there's quite a few of the old Hammer faces.
It's like we're back to normal again after the Shadow of the Cat.
Yeah.
Normal service has resumed.
Yeah. Yeah, we got old Terence Fisher back, didn't we?
Yeah. We're back to colour again. It's like, okay, right. We're back to normal. Okay, carry on.
It was. I take it was filmed in a proper theatre.
I thought it was the Royal Albert Hall for a second. Just look at, when they did the shot at the beginning.
You know the box that Darcy said, "Why isn't there people in that box?"
Yeah.
And he said, his mate says, "Oh, it's haunted." Did you see the exit sign?
No, I missed that.
Green and white exits. It was a modern exit this way, something sort of thing, that you probably wouldn't have got back in the 1800s, but they didn't make plastic things like that. But,
gotta love it. Things never change with films. Like they still do it today. Like there's loads of goof ups, like that Starbucks coffee cup in Game of Thrones will forever go down in history.
Yeah,
it's like, what are you doing?
The car in the original Lord of the Rings, wasn't it, on the mountain? When it came out on the early Blu-ray version, they managed to.
I'm surprised. Was it a Morris Minor?
I can't remember now.
I'm surprised Peter Jackson didn't sneak. He has this thing where he's a complete nut for Morris Minors, and every one of his movies he has a Morris Minor in it, some shape or form.
Possibly it was.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was a Morris Minor and he did it deliberately.
Yeah,
because that's just Peter Jackson. He just can't help himself.
Yeah, but yeah, there was the exit sign. What else did I write down here? Couple of boom cranes and shadows that I saw. That's about it, really. Not a great deal of mistakes, but considering the mistakes you get in films these days, you need a full spreadsheet.
That'll be an episode on its own, just film mistakes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the mistake is making the film.
Yeah.
Like The Crow, that was a mistake. Who ever thought that was a good idea?
What was it? Co-watch. It was terrible. Oh, Borderlands.
Oh yeah, I've heard that was supposed to be awful, and then The Crow just took the top spot for.
I actually, because I went, oh, it's a cartoon, is it? He went, no, it's real life actors. I went, really? I thought it was they looked like cartoon characters.
Yeah, they're based off a game. I've never played it.
No, Garrett's played it, and son, but the other one, Trap. Oh. He says,
Any Bum Strikes Again.
He says there's a good copy of Trap. I went, really? He said, go on then. So I sat there on my iPad, sort of eyeing it up at the time, I thinking I've got to tell Colin how crap this is. And what an awful film. It's this what's he called, Josh Hartnett, and he's a serial killer, but he takes his daughter to the game, the basketball game, and but then realizes he's been set up, and they've set a trap to catch him, but they don't know who he is. They just know he's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And the FBI agent's after him, and the profiler's after him, and he's going about his way trying to get out of these various things that are coming his way, and it's just so boringly stupid that, and the ending is just like, is that it? Is that all you're going to end with? Yeah,
It
it's not.
sounds like a Shiny Bum special.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
just
what where I said that every so often he comes up with one that's acceptable, and then the rest go back to obscurity. This is one that's gone back down to
I
obscurity.
give up. The last movie we did on here was Old,
Oh,
and
so
after that, I'm like, never again. I'm done with his movies. That's it.
yeah,
I can't do anymore.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's it. I see his name. I'm not watching his movies. I don't care anymore. He's
One thing I will say though, because it's set in not basketball, it's set in what's it talking about basketball? It's set in a concert hall,
Mhm.
and there's this girl singer singing, and she's very, very good. She's honestly, she's pop star style. And I play through the credits at the end, thinking, yeah, it's a singer. It's his daughter. Now, at first, I thought, oh, she's like miming, etc., and she's picked on other people's songs. She's just an actress, but she's not. She's actually a singer songwriter in her own right, and
Mhm.
she wrote all the songs for this film, and she performed them, and she actually played the pop star in it, and she overacted the pop star bit, but the songs were pretty fantastic. I tell you, what he should have done is just put a film out of the songs, right?
Just did an album.
Just let the concert go on, because that would have sold it to me.
Yeah,
But the music is pretty fantastic, and that was the impressive bit about it. But the film in itself and the storyline was absolutely typical M Night Shyamalan.
yeah. I just like I said,
Yeah,
the last movie we did on here was Cameron and I. We did Old, and then just gave up on it because it's like, nah,
yeah.
no more, done.
Listen, if you get the chance, listen to the soundtrack.
Mhm.
And I mean, you don't have to be a lover of the genre of music. It's like a R&B type of music type stuff.
Totally
Uh,
not my thing at the moment.
but honestly, I was impressed.
Do you know who I'm listening to at the moment? I know we're going off on another tangent here, but do you know who I'm listening to? I just can't get enough of them at the moment. A band called Electric Callboy. They're a
No.
German techno metal band,
Mm,
and they do like comedy, comedy songs,
mm,
and they're just absolutely insane. And I love them, and they're actually really good musically, like really tight musical tracks.
yeah,
And I'm just like, yep, that when when the world's just crap and you just need to smile for three
yeah.
minutes. Yeah, it's that sort of band where you just need a bit, just listen to something absolutely cheesy and daft, and put a big cheesy grin on your face, and then forget about the world for 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's them, and that's really loving it. We'll keep playing. What was it? We got the moves, just really high energy, sort of uplifting type track.
I know when I go down the gym, quite often a lot of the people in there say, "Can't you turn this crap off and put something good on?" I listen to some bangers. It's my favorite one to exercise is DJ, I suppose it is, called Purple Disco Machine, and he remixes all the old songs from the 80s, and late 70s. And like, don't stop the music, don't you stop it, don't stop the music, and all that. And
Mhm.
Smooth Boy, some of the stuff like that. But, Of
there's
course, youngsters down the gym who don't even know what it is. Oh, have you got any M&M or whatever?
God,
Kanye West.
never heard him.
No.
Heard of it's one of them names that pops up, and couldn't tell you what one of his songs are like. No interest. Not my wheelhouse even remotely. So I'm just happily oblivious to all that. But yeah,
Yeah,
back to
but,
Christine's an interesting one because in the actual, the musical, the whole point of her character is that she wants the lead part and she's not strong enough. In this movie, she's already got the lead part.
yeah.
And the only reason she didn't get, or she lost the lead part, was because she wouldn't shag Darcy. It's
Yeah.
nothing to do with her ability. So even the Phantom coming into it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because she says, I'm going to teach you to sing. Well, she already passed the audition, didn't she?
She's already there. She's doing it. So what does she need to learn? That's where it kind of goes about, huh? What's happening here?
I felt that it unnecessarily got a bit violent for because the Phantom was slapping her around, didn't he?
Well, let's say first of all, he kidnaps her.
Yeah.
And then he practically, we'll see him slapping her about and beating her, but it's it's a connotation. Obviously, they couldn't show, but basically what they're implying is he's kidnapped her and he's held her for days and torturing her basically to get her to sing, because they've got her showing. It's sad because of the time period when it was made. They're not going to be fully graphic, but effectively what they're saying is she's been kidnapped and she's been made to sing until she drops, and if she misses a note, he's smacking her about, and if she tries to escape, then the dwarf's going to stab her. It's not pleasant. And then when she does pass out, she gets Thames water thrown around her.
Oh, no, yeah. Throw some water on her, and he goes down and gets.
That was one of the ridiculous scenes, actually.
Yeah.
Water. I'm not saying dwarf, hunchback. It's Igor. Igor goes to get the water.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised it didn't, should have had the same effect as nitric acid, but he scoops it out of it.
That water looked crystal clear, didn't it?
It did.
Lovely.
But look at his cave. That was luxury. I would live in that.
Yeah.
Actually, when you think about it, the way it's all laid up and everything's perfect, all you need is a wee bit of a, bit of plasterboard up to separate off a few bits. That'll be all right.
Did you see the bit though when Igor carried her body into the cave? He plonked her down on the concrete, didn't it? Now, with the force, she was supposedly unconscious. Her head should have gone bang on
just cracked her nut.
Didn't it? Oh, so softly back.
Yeah, it was a strange plot.
Yeah.
If this had been something else apart from the Phantom of the Opera, if it had been inspired by the Phantom of the Opera, but had he was a stalker instead, it'd have made sense. But it's almost like they had another story here, but it's wearing a Phantom of the Opera skin suit, because it's not the same tale.
No. Yeah. It's like I said, it's more like the book than some of the other film productions that have gone on. The only difference being this one was filmed in London, and of course the book is set in Paris.
Mm-hmm. And there have been a couple. In fact, we should do that. That should be an icon of horror.
What's that?
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Because there's been loads of films.
I
mean, there's been quite a few films, Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, and well, not only films, but TV movies as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those characters that's been featured again. This is...
And there are some cracking actors that have...
Well, Robert Englund played him.
Lon Chaney.
Mm-hmm.
The original, not Lon Chaney Jr., Lon Chaney
Senior,
Senior. He was in one. God, would have been Lon Chaney would have been early 30s, was it?
Can't remember.
No, Lon Chaney Jr. was early 30s. Um,
Yeah, it's one of them stories that's been told.
yeah,
We should look into that. Maybe we'll set that up sometime. Get a few people, get a wee panel together again.
yeah.
Be a good chat. But yeah, this is definitely. It's not the story. It's something different here.
1925, Lon Chaney.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. It's actually got. Did they have colour back in 1925?
No, it would have still been. They'd have just been transitioning from silent movies.
Oh yeah, black and white.
In fact, it would have been almost. When
Quite,
was
quite
it?
funny.
19.
The actual DVD cover, because it's obviously been grabbed by Universal, just like this photo. The actual DVD cover is in colour, the Lon Chaney one, but the film is actually black and white.
Well, they've done that. They've done that with posters and all. That's not a new thing.
1925. The film is 1 hour 41 minutes long,
But
and for the time, that's quite good.
that's epic. That is.
Yeah.
And if you think about the cost of the silver nitrate alone to hold that,
Yeah, yeah.
that's not that's no small accomplishment. Yeah, we should look at this character and maybe do. I think it's worth looking at because he appeared loads of times.
Yeah.
I'm just not buying him in this one. As a horror movie, it's just a scary tale as such.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It didn't really need the Phantom. It could have just done with Igor. If they hadn't called it Phantom of the Opera,
Yeah, that's
you
I
got
hadn't
one.
Phantom of the Opera, and it had been.
What was his name? Dwarf or whatever.
Yeah, they just called him the dwarf. He didn't have a name because he couldn't speak.
You could have done it with him, really, if it wasn't called Phantom of the Opera.
He reminds me of oh god, Man with the Golden Gun. What do you call Scaramanga's?
Oh yeah, the little guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was going to say Oddjob, but Oddjob's one with the bowler hat. Najo, something N. Wasn't Najo or something? But anyway, him. That's who he reminds me of, as opposed to.
Yeah.
He was it was more about him than the Phantom, because he was the one basically climbing around the place, like, absolutely with glee.
Bars and everything, wasn't he?
Yeah. The Phantom just stood there and cried.
Yeah.
That was his thing.
Yeah. He was just in the background, and he was a voice, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he played with his organ.
Oh god.
You know what's worse than lobsters on your piano, don't you?
What's that?
Crabs on your organ.
Oh dear, man. But of course, talking to the organ, we of course have Toccata and Fugue in D minor, like the most famous piece of organ music ever.
It's probably the only one they knew.
That's it. Do you think Bach knew that when he wrote that piece that it was going to be used exclusively for horror movies all the time?
Oh yeah, yeah, because it was in Rollerball. Remember the film? 73?
Oh god, yeah. Oh I remembered. I thought I hadn't watched the remake, but I had.
Oh no!
Oh god, that was awful. The original Rollerball was very. It was a subtle commentary, social commentary.
Yeah.
And it's very dark.
Yeah.
And it's not even the stuff that happens in the arena, it's the stuff that happens outside the arena, this world.
Yeah.
Like, you get assigned a wife, but if one of the directors decide you're not going to have a wife anymore, you don't have a wife anymore. It was yeah.
Yeah, take my wife.
That's a grim movie.
Yeah. Of course, wasn't Back to Cat featured in The Exorcist as well?
No, that was Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells.
Tubular Bells. Yeah, I was getting mixed up.
Yeah, that's another one. But I think Mike Oldfield's more aware. But I just think when Back wrote this, that he, I don't know if he realized this was in Martin as well.
Mm.
If you remember Martin, George Romero's one of his final movies.
I haven't seen it.
Have you not?
No.
Yeah, you got to check up on it. That's an absolute classic.
Oh right. Okay. Yes, it is. It's one of the must be one of the most used pieces of music in film.
Yeah.
Back to Cat and Money. Mm.
As I said, just it goes to show as well, if you creating something isn't a waste of time, you just don't know. It might not be in your lifetime, but if you create something, put it out in the world, you don't know where it's going to end up.
And I suppose after a while they can use it free of charge, can't they?
Yeah, well, that's that's it. But it's not even about the, if something lives on longer than you,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's a bit of a legacy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
that's what I say to people.
and is still well known,
Mhm.
because you get some of the musicians, the younger musicians these days. It's one of the pieces that they learn to play.
You get anybody on a keyboard, on a Yamaha, and they find the organ setting, they will try to go.
The artist is going to
yeah, but that's what you have to actually play.
That is finger work.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I have to actually know how to play. But everyone, we've all learned that.
Yeah.
It just has to be done,
Yeah, no.
Imagine having owning a church or something, or having an organ installed. That's being played every time someone's in there. They're going to have a crack.
It would either be that one or chopsticks.
Yeah.
No, I thought the opening music as well was very good on this. It set the impression that it was back to Hammer horror.
Yeah,
it came in forceful, like a bit like the Dracula film back in
until they got to the Phantom's face.
Yeah.
And then they did that strange zoom in shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh?
You got an eye, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think that, considering the subtle intro, I think they should have just stayed with that. Like, we know who even in the 60s, everyone knew who the Phantom of the Opera was. Even if you're not in the musicals, you know this one.
Mm. Yeah.
So I don't know why they had to telegraph it at the beginning. And they actually ruined their own reveal.
Mm.
They missed the point of the word phantom, a presence in the darkness and the shadows.
Yeah.
They kind of have him basically walking about and approaching every, hello, songbird, come with me. Every leads. And that was the whole point of the Phantom Opera. He didn't approach the lead singer, the whatever you call him, because they've got the job there at the top of their game. It was meant to be the one in the court, approaching the one with designs and stardom.
Yeah, the sort of understudy, wasn't it? And but there wasn't even the thing in the book was, he felt attracted to her, and there wasn't that impression.
No,
he just wanted to teach her to sing. Why?
Because even when he said, "You'll sing only for me," he didn't mean it.
It was singing his opera, but he was saying, "You're singing for me." Now, did that mean? Why didn't he just come out and say, "Look, bloody Darcy's nicked my bloody opera. This is my piece of music. I want you to sing it, and because you'll do a better job than.
But he's also making the opera more popular. He's actually helping Darcy.
Yeah.
By getting the way they did this plot makes no sense, because if I'm right in the original one, that was the whole idea. He was going to train her up, and she was going to just perform for her. But when she went off, she left the production, wasn't it? And that's what sparked his jealousy.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been 20 years since I've actually seen the musical.
Mm.
But I thought that was the crux of the story, that she was sort of bound to him to do this particular one. But when she left, or she didn't fulfill her part of the bargain, that's what set him off in the jealous rage, and then he actually attempted to kill her. Is that not the original premise?
Yeah. That's more near to it.
Yeah, this doesn't make sense. In fact, dwarf, Igor, because he was more in line with the Phantom.
Yeah, it could have gone two ways. No, Igor was just an accessory that shouldn't have been there, or they shouldn't have called it Phantom. They should have used Igor the dwarf in a more prominent role.
Yeah.
And I think that's the two ways it could have gone. Because they should have let the Phantom do his work if that's the case.
Yeah, but that was a complete waste of a character.
But the dwarf going around stabbing people in the eye
and his strange pipe thing so he could go underwater.
Yeah,
that was pure comedy.
Was that it was bloody.
It was like getting a bamboo reed. People do the bamboo reed in the water.
Yeah, and then he went to kill someone. He went to kill
Harold. Yeah.
Yeah, Harold.
Yeah. It's a
lots of things that. Yeah.
But here's the thing, Percy. The Phantom. He's a professor. Surely, especially in the 1800s, that's some status to have.
Yeah.
And he would have a faculty behind him.
Well, someone must have realised that he wasn't.
There'd be a hint of intelligence there, wouldn't there?
Yeah. And surely he would have had a family as well. He would have gone, hey, when else, the professor.
Yeah, but just the way he signed over his music, the way he did, like he was just no idea of how business works, or
would he have, would he have needed £50?
No, sure, he would have just run it as a wouldn't the university have had a player society?
Couldn't he have printed it himself?
That's what I mean. He, being a professor, he would have had the backing of the faculty.
Yeah.
And he could have done it as a paper or something. No, first of all, if unless I'm mistaken, because I don't have a music degree, but are you not meant to compose a piece as your dissertation? And especially if he's a professor, he'll have a doctorate. Are you not meant to do that as well?
Because Gareth, when he did his, because Gareth's got a first degree in music, production, and he didn't actually. It was indirectly. They had to write, and they had to get someone else to write a song, and they had to produce it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the music production, but yeah.
But the point is, a piece is created and it's submitted and it's notarized and logged.
Yeah.
For the mark, So as a professor, surely he would be publishing his papers. This would be his publication.
Yeah.
Through the university. Because is that you're not meant to be practicing? I know you have to be practicing to get a doctorate, so to get the title of professor, you have to be practicing.
Yeah.
Unless I'm mistaken. I know I'm just a thick working class bloke. I don't understand all this highbrow stuff. But I'm pretty sure that's the way it works.
The professor's higher than doctorate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You have to have a doctorate to be the professor's a title, as opposed to you're still hold the title of doctor, but it's
you profess in what you do. That's the idea, isn't
Yeah,
it?
no, that's
Yeah.
it's works that way. Somebody who knows about this stuff obviously would explain it better than me, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. So him coming to the arse
Right.
like he's a pauper
Yeah.
and just signing over his work the way he did makes no sense.
Yeah. And also, would a professor stoop so low as to break into somewhere?
No, he
They would have. They
got
would
a
have.
do it.
They would have paid some of the students to, hey,
Here,
break into.
do you want an A this semester?
Yeah.
You want a good grade this semester? Need a job done?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
These are things that take me out of a story. I think I've talked about this ad nauseum on the channel, but it's silly little things like that. A door opening the wrong way, just the basics of, social status and how people interact with each other, or just reality. If you don't do those things, I can't believe ground the reality before you accept the fantastical.
Yeah.
Because if you're giving people the title of professor, then that has connotations. If you're giving somebody the title of lord, that has connotations. There's a whole social structure there. There have these people act as if they're just market traders that are doing each other over, and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it kind of falls apart. And it's the same as Christine's character. There's no reason for her to go with the Phantom because she's not there. So getting rid of Mariam after the first scene, the whole point was the Phantom got rid of Mariam's character to make way after he trained, all that's out the window.
Yeah.
So when you remove that, the logic, you can't get invested in the film. Like, this is just a spec, this is a popcorn flick. It's just that was an old film, haha, and I was more impressed with the set pieces, like the water, like the Phantom's cave and the bit with the Thames. So that wasn't obviously by the Thames. It was, I know they did a couple of shots, but the actual bit where you stand over, that's a set piece. They're impressive. That was not cheap to make, especially when you're involving gallons of water.
That's probably why the cost was.
Yeah, that's
why, wasn't it?
And plus the fight choreography in the water.
Yeah.
Like, that's been the best fight choreography I've seen so far.
Yeah. And then some of the, if you think of the actual stunt at the end when the lampshade falls on the Phantom, and that was quite a stunt to put on back then. And that could have gone drastically wrong.
Well, it was like Oliver Reed throwing a burning bale of hay into a group of people who just got out of the way. That could have went wrong.
Yeah.
That's things like that. That's why I don't hate this movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I can see where the efforts went in with certain scenes and building the sets and all.
Yeah.
But where they've fallen apart is they've completely detracted from the story, which I don't understand, because if you're doing Phantom of the Opera, do Phantom of the Opera.
They detracted totally. I think what they did, they put it into the wrong context. I think the story, like we've just picked holes in it left, right, and centre. Perhaps it wasn't looked at that deeply, but then perhaps that yeah.
But once again, I'm just saying, if you're going to do Phantom of the Opera, just do it.
Yeah.
You don't need to deviate, because people aren't going to complain as long as it's a true telling. You don't need to put your own spin or whatever. Just it's one of those stories that you don't need to reinvent the wheel for.
Yeah,
I that's what I believe anyway. It's like the musical. You go to see the musical, you don't want to have techno, disco beats or DJs.
one of those stories that you shouldn't deviate.
Yeah,
And you know, yeah, you should never do this set in modern day.
would make sense. It's a
Give it to
period
M.
piece.
Give it to M. Night Shyamalan and you do
Oh
it.
God, no, don't.
Yeah, you should never deviate away from the story. It's a bit like um, the other horror characters. I know you've had like Dracula AD 72,
Mm-hmm.
but
You will be getting that. That's on the list.
werewolves, the original werewolf. I know there's been like Wolfman and things like this, but
There's another Wolfman coming out next year.
where actual werewolf should be set in the same period that Oliver Reed done it in.
Yeah, that's the tale. It's the folklore tale.
An American Werewolf in London was 1979. That was fine, but the actual werewolf,
Yeah, the
if
Wolfman.
they're
The
making
Wolfman tale.
werewolves, yeah, they should leave it in the time period that. And it's the same with the Phantom. You can't say, oh, Phantom circa 2024, and because well, yeah,
Doesn't make
but
sense.
the CCTV would pick him up.
Yeah,
you
DNA
know,
evidence. You name it. It doesn't.
you should leave the Phantom back in the 1800s. Yeah.
But there you go. That was
Yeah,
at
I
the end
enjoyed
as well.
it. Better than the one where we said that it was all TV actors.
Oh, the Shadow of the Cat. Yeah, that was.
You know, and it's good to have Terence Fisher back, isn't it?
Yeah, back to normal service. That instead of those strange collaborations.
And you've got to tell yourself, hey, this was early '60s. Um, this is a time when um, you know people had less of an expectation.
Oh yeah,
Just they were more afraid of the story than the film. And they didn't they wouldn't have been looking for a boom mic shadow like I did, and and or an exit sign.
yeah. But
It wouldn't have crossed their minds. But
we do appreciate that. You know what I mean? That's as I know, as we've done this series and any of the classic horror we look at, we're not looking at it through rose tinted glasses either. You know what I mean? And basically what we're trying to find out is do the stories hold up? And if that's why certain movies and certain stories are timeless. They'll always be worth a rewatch. But also, were the studios just as fallible as they are today? Now, today, obviously, they're over the last 10 years, they're absolutely abysmal. Like, there's no joy in cinema today. It's soulless. It's just corporate sludge, and it's not there's nothing to get excited about. That's my genuine feeling today. It's really difficult to get excited about movies coming out because you know that there's no attempt to entertain the audience now. It's just get this thing out because it needs to happen.
Yeah.
For a tax break 9 times out of 10.
If you can't do it by real person, use CGI.
Yeah. But also, I'm not going to say, oh, films are so much better back in the day. I'm not going to be one of those people. Obviously, I'm going to look at, give a buy ball because of technology limitations. But if the story doesn't hold up, it doesn't matter what, you can have all the bells and whistles and set pieces and stunts. But if there's no actual basic story that you can follow, and like I said, for the most part, if you weren't paying attention to this, you just watch it and it'd be like, oh, that was a fun movie and crack on. But when you're actually looking at the plot, there's massive gaping plot holes in this that make no sense.
Yeah. And things that they didn't really need to be there.
Yeah, they put extra in that they didn't need to, and then didn't put the bits that were actually fundamental to the story. I think they were trying too hard to put their own stamp on it. Because it does have the Hammer look. You know what I mean? It looks like a Hammer movie. It's got the feel of a Hammer movie. but by doing it, took away from the actual story, Phantom of the Opera, which is its own. That's a juggernaut of a story in its own.
Should have been called Darcy of the Opera.
Yeah, Darcy versus Harold.
Yeah.
Harold and Darcy, the because that was their story.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there you go. It's fun anyway. Next we have up is The Damned.
The Damned.
The Damned.
Good band.
1963.
Oh.
I don't remember that one.
No, I can't say I remember it either. What's that about?
Not sure. We'll find out. Sure, we'll look it up. $1960. We've got a 2. The Hammer
Not 1969.
Joseph Losey.
An American tourist, a youth gang leader, and his troubled sister find themselves trapped in a top secret government facility experimenting on children.
Isn't this the one that was remade with Christopher Reeve?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of them.
So, or was that The Village?
It's not Terence Fisher.
No, it's not. It's Joseph Losey.
Mm.
And we're back to black and white.
Yeah.
Is this a joint production again? Hammer House of Horror. Yeah. No, it's just Hammer.
Delightful piece of Cold War cynicism about a small group of radioactive children being raised by the British government to repopulate a future post-nuclear Earth.
Oliver Reed's in it. Photo recognized there.
Based in Dorset.
I could almost swear this is the remake of it with Christopher Reeve. This is the one that was remade in the early 80s. I could almost swear that's. I'm going to look that up now.
A couple of the reviews say it's very messy, but we will put our own view to it. Yeah, mixed bag of reviews.
Christopher Reeve, Village of the Damned. I think that's 1985. I didn't think it was out yet. John Carpenter. Small towns women give birth to unfriendly alien. Oh no, they were alien children. God, I could have almost sworn that was a remake.
Filmed in Weymouth and Portland, Dorset. This one. Budget.
Village. Oh, this is The Village of the Damned, the book. The Midwich Cuckoos.
What's that?
I think they did a. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm almost thinking this is not so much a remake, but a slightly adjacent one, the Village of the Damned. I think it's a take on it.
According to the box office, this actually cost $500,000 US.
Bloody hell. Was that just to get Oliver Reed?
Is Oliver Reed in this one?
This one?
No, Oliver Reed's not in it, is he?
He is.
Yeah.
Was he in the trailer?
Kenneth Cope. Yeah. And according to the thing, it says $500,000 US. 500,000.
And it's in black and white.
And it's in black and white. That can't be right, surely.
I think the washing machine was going, look, even in the 60s. Brr. I think there's a wee bit of laundering going on there.
There you go.
We will have that to look forward to. That'll be interesting.
It's been made at the
It
end.
actually looks quite good. I'm seeing the trailer here playing, and it actually looks
Must have
quite
been made
sharp.
at the end of the tax year.
Yeah,
And they spend loads of money. Stop paying tax.
yeah, that's just happened.
Oliver Reed. Yeah.
Yeah. Fun times. But there you go. Got that looking forward to. Thanks as always, mate, for turning up. And thanks for everyone that was watching there.
Chris,
Great
anyway,
to see us.
Where was Chris tonight?
This isn't Chris's night. Chris is Thursdays. Alternative Thursdays.
He normally.
Oh, he's not in the chat, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. That's why I felt strange tonight. No Chris. Hope he's all right.
Yeah. Hope it's nothing trivial if there is something wrong.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Bum,
Right.
bum.
On a happy note. Once again, thanks everyone for turning up. And until next time, keep updated with the channel, do the type of clicky things, and remember to keep it creepy, keep it horrific.